Well, I think it kind of comes together. So my health journey started maybe about 8, 9 years ago. Misdiagnosed, went through perimenopause, just went down, unfortunately, the wrong road with hormone health and didn't have a lot of knowledge on what to do, and finally got some support. I found I had, deficiencies in magnesium, and how do I get my sleep back? And then with compounded with his experience, and he can kind of go into what he has, we started kind of playing around with sleep supplements, intermittent fasting, and using creatine for my mental health. And we just, it kind of came together. And then one day I just said, why don't we?
Kind of evolved into
Yeah.
these supplements, and we were like, why don't we start a business and teach people more and educate people? And so that's what our passion became, and it unfolded with Fule4Ever.
Yeah,
uh,
so it was health, and then his experience, and then my kind of journey, and then it was just a great experience. But at the same time, we were very naive because my husband's an RN. I was a high school counselor. We didn't have any business experience, so we sat down at the table and we said, "Okay, we this is what we want to do."
All right, guys. So I have just pushed record. David, Danielle, thank you guys so much for being on the Healthy CEO. How you guys doing?
Great.
Great, thank you so much for having us.
Well, I tell you, I'm glad you're here because this is twofold. Now, see, this is the thing I say a lot on my podcast. Like, this is such a selfish endeavor because I get to meet cool people, I get to learn from them, and it all comes because I have this little thing called a podcast. And so, I get to learn from you guys, and you have got a business that's kind of like my dream business. You're in health and wellness. You're making great products that adhere to your healthy lifestyle. And so the way I'd like to approach this is not only from, I'm sure we're going to geek out on some health and wellness stuff and some weird decisions that we've probably all made trying to be healthy. And then also, I want to hear about your entrepreneurial journey. So, whichever one of you wants to kind of dive in first, I want to hear about when you guys decided, first of all, to be entrepreneurs, but also like Danielle, I watch your social media and I know that you've come a long way in your from what it looks like in your health journey and your weight, and then now you're big on fasting and being healthy. So whoever wants to start either the entrepreneurial side or the health side, let's just tag you guys are it.
Well, I think it kind of comes together. So my health journey started maybe about 8, 9 years ago. Misdiagnosed, went through perimenopause, just went down, unfortunately, the wrong road with hormone health, and didn't have a lot of knowledge on what to do, and finally got some support. I found I had, deficiencies in magnesium, and how do I get my sleep back? And then with compounded with his experience, and he can kind of go into what he has, we started kind of playing around with sleep supplements, intermittent fasting, and using creatine for my mental health. And we just, it kind of came together. And then one day I just said, why don't we?
Kind of evolved into
Yeah.
these supplements, and we were like, why don't we start a business and teach people more and educate people? And so that's what our passion became, and it unfolded with Fule4Ever.
Yeah,
uh,
so it was health, and then his experience, and then my kind of journey, and then it was just a great experience. But at the same time, we were very naive because my husband's an RN. I was a high school counselor. We didn't have any business experience, so we sat down at the table and we said, "Okay, we this is what we want to do. What are your roles? What should my roles be?" And we learned a lot. We learned a lot of things not to do. We learned to work together, which has been so much fun. It really has been.
Yeah, I can, my wife and I, we have a business together. And when it's done right and you have a good partnership, it can be so fun. Of course, now she does all the heavy lifting, she does all the hard work. We have a children's boutique here in Tyler, in addition to our other businesses, but that's really her baby. And it's the one where all I have to do is take out the trash every once in a while and make a fool of myself on our Instagram, which if you guys want to be entertained, you can see some of my stooge
Yeah.
like behavior on the Hot Tots Instagram page. Okay, so now I'm really interested because one of the things I love about your business is, and as you know, we just launched a nutraceutical company ourselves. And a lot of it has to do with education. My business partners are physicians. A lot of it's all based on clinical research that they've done in real time with patients. So I love the fact that you guys are big on teaching and helping people understand. But like so many other people that go down this road of trying to get healthy, and you walk into a drug emporium or something, or you go into bodybuilder.com and you just see this wall, this sea of supplements, and there's all this information out there, and you've got one podcaster that says fasting is great. Then you have NBC News saying intermittent fasting is going to cause heart problems. And you got all this conflict. You got Lane Norton out there yelling at everybody that doesn't do the right type of research, which I love Lane Norton, so I'm not knocking him. How did you guys start to, and I know David, with you being a nurse, this had to have helped to some degree, but how did you start to dive into the information and separate the substance from the noise?
I think what we wanted to do is first, there is a lot of information out there, and there's also a lot of misinformation. And you can get, you can boggle your brain when you start deep diving into anything. You can get very confused very easily. With my background, especially being in like the gastrointestinal, nursing side of medicine, I've learned and I've seen a lot of people with IBS and gastrointestinal problems. And what we wanted to do to be different was teach people about having a healthy gut. And if we did make products, but in the process is to make products that enhance your gut, or at the same time don't contribute to any more problems with your gut. And that comes in the form of, the absence of sugar alcohols, making like our collagen bars are high in fiber. We don't use any artificial fillers or ingredients in them. So we try to really eliminate those to begin with. And our whole foundation is if you don't, put bad things in your body, then that's a start for you. That's the beginning of a good wellness journey, is to eliminate some bad ingredients, start feeding yourself with healthy ingredients. And that's kind of the basis of where we started.
And also my journey is very different than David's journey.
Yeah.
I'm in perimenopause, almost menopause, so my fasting will be very different than his fasting. My exercise is very different. He loves going on these long runs and with rucking, and I'm not really pushing my body, instead of with weights, but not with the cardio. So I think that my main focus, and we talk about a lot, is listening to your body, what works for you. I love following everybody. I love following Lane. I really like his information, but I also like what works for me.
Yep.
So I have like a toolbox, and tell you scientifically each one that works at that moment, but I can tell you my toolbox of health. I like it. It makes me feel good at almost 49. I'm sleeping through the night. I have great hormone health. I'm happy. I have muscle. I just listen to myself and what works for me.
That's one of the things that I try to tell everybody too, is that for me, yeah, I'll be completely transparent. I do have a vanity component to it. I want to look good. I want to look good. I want to be able to wear the clothes I want to wear, but that's not why I'm so steeped in this stuff. When you're able to cross that threshold, and I'm sure you guys can attest to it, and Danielle, you pretty much just did. When you start to really feel better and you realize how understanding the levers to pull to make your body perform at its optimal best, it is truly life changing. It does make you feel more joyful, happier. Your thoughts are clearer. I mean, you mentioned that, the mental side of it, your head clears up. You can hold thoughts longer. And that's one of the reasons why I've started, and I'm sure you guys can say the same thing. For me, there's a lot of ways to make money, right? We can all go do a bunch of things to make money. But if you can help people understand how to take control of their health and start to understand the agency they have over that, it's just it's a gift that I want every single person to realize is at their disposal should they decide to take it. And that to me is the greatest benefit to what any of us that are in the health and wellness space do is like, yeah, I mean, we've got to make a living, we've got families to feed and everything, but also the value of that customer, that client, wherever it fits into your business model to be able to go, I actually feel better. I'm a happier, more whole human as a result of taking control of my health. It's just so awesome.
And I agree with that. It's interesting making the collagen bars. It would have been a lot easier for us to use whey or use artificial ingredients. We would have to make a candy bar is easy. To
Mhm.
make a healthy bar is a lot harder.
Yeah.
So I think that we just never wanted to sell out. We just said, you know what, let's just stay true to the ingredients that we have. It's very hard to flavor with monk fruit and not use sucralose, but we are staying true to how we want to live. And
Yeah.
that's really and how we wanna what we wanna represent as a company. There's plenty other companies out there that use, artificial ingredients, and that's fine, and maybe they can give you a PubMed study that says it's fine, it's healthy. We're gonna go with how we feel and how our lifestyle and what we put in, and that's kinda really our philosophy.
Yeah, our going back to Daniel, what she just said, our philosophy and keys to how we live falls. I mean, our foundation of our company was how do you want to live? Like, how do you? We think the keys for longevity are quality sleep, intermittent fasting. You don't have to fast every day, but it's good to incorporate it into your lifestyle. I mean, there's many advantages to it if you do it appropriately, and then fueling your body, like I said earlier, with good ingredients. So, and it is going back to what works for you. It's like what makes you feel good. Fasting makes you feel good. Great. I mean, who doesn't feel good with quality sleep? So those are the things that we really focus on here.
So one of the hardest things to decide whenever, I mean, having, and I'm living it right now. Our mutual friend James Quandall can tell you. I mean, I'm living this struggle right now. When you decide you want to make a product, and in this space, you can start with nutraceuticals, you can start with bars, you can start with what protein. How did you guys come to the conclusion that okay, we know we want to make a product, we want to get something out in the health and wellness space to the market, we're gonna make these Fule4Ever bars. That's and we're gonna and then kinda take us through what it's like. I mean, it sounds so simple, and you see Tom Bilyeu, and you hear, Tim Ferriss's story of Brain Quicken, and then you know the story of, RX bars, and we all know, and still, it's like and it's really cool to me that you guys and again, having lived it, you have to go up against some resistance because I
Yeah.
guarantee you there was somebody out there that you guys said, we're going to make a collagen bar. And they're like, what are you talking? There's so many bars out there. Why would you ever do that? Everybody's doing that and it's going to be too expensive. And who's going to be your co-manufacturer and how are you going to source? It's just everybody will tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't do it, which is probably why they're not entrepreneurs and we are. So, how did you guys and I want to get philosophical with me. How
Yeah.
did you mentally overcome some of the resistance, the obstacles? And then why did you decide on this product? Why did you decide on a collagen bar versus purely a clean protein bar or one of the, something like a meat bar that's kind of a big thing now? How did all that come together?
Danielle's going to hop on this real quick, but before she
No, I want
does,
you to start with
I'm
fast
I'm
stuff.
going to tell
Yeah.
you that we put blinders on to begin. Like we didn't listen to anybody. We knew what we wanted to do. We went out and found manufacturers. We didn't look up anything. We went out and we just did it. We looked, we found a co-packer, to make the bars. We found everything ourselves. We did our own research. And then we just put one foot in front of the other and went in. It's like the collagen bars, for example. We knew exactly what ingredients we didn't want to use. And it's hard, like Danielle said, it's hard to make a good bar because they actually encourage you to use certain
Yep.
ingredients
Mhm.
to make it easier for
Yeah.
them. And you have to put a hard stop on it and say, no, we don't, this is something we're adamant about. We're passionate about this product and how it's going to be and what we want to offer in it. And, and we had to put our foot down to use the ingredients that we wanted to use.
But our sleep supplement was probably was near and dear because it was something that we created together based on my own sleep journey. So it
Mm,
was trying all different types of ingredients. Okay, what can I do to get natural sleep without waking up and feeling groggy, like I was with melatonin or
mhm,
so. I think that was a personal journey. And then our fasting with hydration, we were kind of tired of going for an amino acid, an electrolyte, and creatine and three bottles. And we went, why isn't all like put together? And so that was kind of our like it seemed simple. And then we realized like, wow, we're up against like some big players. But honestly, who cares? Like, game on. We have great products. We're good people. Let's go for it. And then the bars were just like, there must be a reason. Like, why is it not created? And that was the hardest one probably to make because it really is hard without artificial ingredients. And I feel like we nailed it. And I just didn't want the dairy or the pea protein. I just really didn't want. It was so much the whole industry is pea protein and whey, and I really wanted to figure out like why can't I really create a good collagen bar that was soft. And I think we did well, and we added MCT oil for the brain. So every ingredient is like has a meaning for us. It's just we're not going to do it any other way.
yeah, I love that, I respect that so much. Now, how did you guys now here, let's shift to the kinda, how I built this type portion of the interview or a conversation. I hate calling these interviews, that sounds so formal, this is a conversation. So, how did you guys fund this? I mean, when you decided, "Hey, we're gonna go make a product," Danielle, you're doing counseling, and David, you're a nurse, did you go to family? Did you decide and did you take out outside investors, and did you set some parameters on that? I know that's one of the things we've had to deal with is in a startup is going, are we gonna bring outside capital in? Because if you do that, then you got partners that you didn't ask for, and the most expensive form of capital is giving away equity. At least banks go away. I don't like dealing with banks, but at least debt goes away eventually if all things go well. How did you guys decide to fund this operation? And did you do it as like, James Altucher always says, just do an experiment. Go out, make some bars and see if you can sell one. Or did you guys like say, no, we're gonna make several cases. Here's the website. We've got these sales channels. Like, how did all that kind of what was the sequence of events that turned this idea and this problem you're trying to solve into a business?
Well, I think we're blessed in that we self-funded it and we do everything ourselves. So when we
Awesome.
first started, we made some decisions that maybe were a little too much on the pocketbook as far as spending for marketing and then we realized the second we put everything in-house, we do everything. So we don't source it out. So we're at an opportunity now since we're 3 years in that we can. But at the beginning, I mean, we're doing everything ourselves. David is doing online Adobe and creative and, MailChimp and everything. We learned the whole inside and out of a company. And that saved us a lot of money, because it was just everything we had went back into us or our company. And I feel like we did, we're at an opportunity where we can kind of source some things out and it's giving us a little break.
Yeah. We did make some mistakes at the very beginning by I can't say they were mistakes, they were learning opportunities.
Yeah.
But we did, farm out duties to other people. And I quickly realized, I told Danielle, I was like, if we don't learn how to do this ourselves, you know, we could be in trouble one day. I need to learn we need to learn how to do these things ourselves so we can be proficient at it. And then once we nail it, then maybe, we start making more money,
Yeah.
then we can, get somebody else to do these certain tasks. And that's
Like,
kind of
if
where we are.
something happens with the website, David is confident enough to go on and fix it. And it's amazing. It shows, like, how 2 people who have no business experience can figure out a company, shipping, and
Yeah.
Google,
I
and
mean,
Amazon.
I've
Amazon,
she asked me to do stuff sometimes. I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "I've been in the medical field for 24 years, and then you're asking me to, go on the back end of the website and tweak this and this, and then figure
Yeah.
out shipping." and there's a lot that goes on with owning and running a business, and we're slow. I mean, we're still learning. We learn stuff every day.
But, like, for instance, our collagen bars, we interviewed for someone to do our wrapper, and they gave us the bill, this is the quote, and we went, "Oh, we're so sorry. We apologize for wasting your time." The guy said, I like you so much, the 2 of you. I will do it for fraction of the price." He ended up winning an award, a design award,
Wow.
and he said, "One day you will come back and rebrand everything with, I just know you'll come back." And it was people like that looked at us and believed in us and gave us those opportunities, because we would have never had that sort of sleek look without someone very experienced.
That's so cool, and that's one of the things that I've learned as being a small business owner is that when you can find those people out there that do appreciate what you're trying to do, because they're entrepreneurs themselves. Another thing too that you mentioned that's kind of just complete sidebar is when he said you would come back and rebrand. That's one of the things I had to talk to my partners about is that we came out when we designed our first bottles and we were like stressing over, what do you do? And do we go to 99 Designs, let them compete for it? And do we go to a marketing deal? And I just finally said, look, we're going to put out to our friends and family 3 different options, have them vote, and we're going with that, knowing full well that this is all going to probably change one day. I mean, if you look at the old AG1
Yep,
packaging, it's like so different than what it
yep.
is now. And that's what I told our partners. I was like, this is going to change. And so for you guys, I mean, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs that are out there right now? I don't care if they're in the health and wellness space, they might be doing something completely different, but they're sitting back and they've got the idea and they're obsessing over website, packaging, uh, taglines. What would you tell those entrepreneurs that are just kind of mired in the muck of analysis or paralysis by analysis? What would you tell those entrepreneurs?
I always say go with your gut, because a lot of time, I mean, 99% of the time with our business, we know, like, okay, we should have listened to our gut. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's such an uphill battle, and so you have to be patient. You have to take your time. It is not it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
That is my biggest thing, and then if you're with your partner, communication, breaks, try to take the breaks as much as you can.
My advice would be we've come a long ways in the last 3 years with AI and Chat
Yes.
GPT. Um, there's so many different things you can utilize to come up with logos, formatting for your website, that we didn't know when we first started
Yeah.
that's available now.
That is good,
There's
yeah.
so many different ways, the old school ways, you have to have a web developer build you a website and you had to pay them thousands of dollars to do this. You could do it your own now. You could do it by yourself now for relatively, pennies on the dollar. Um, all it takes is a little searching on the internet, downloading some apps or, something on your computer to help assist you. There's tons of resources out there. It's totally doable not all on your own. That you could have some help for some things from a professional, but it's not near as expensive as it used to be. And
And I think too, not quitting. If it's your dream and your passion and this is what you wanna do, you have to understand it takes a special kind of person, and you have to just not quit. And I think that's the hardest thing. There's days someone just asked me, like, "What makes you, like" there's days you ever feel like, "Oh, I can't do this?" I was like, "Yeah, every day."
Yeah.
And you just go, "You know what? My mindset now is whatever happens, happens." It's meant to be. Like, we were supposed to do a Costco roadshow. It didn't work out. And I think because we're still growing, and I think it was actually a gift to us,
it's a
because
blessing in
it's a blessing
disguise.
because we're not ready. But I could have been like, "Oh, what happened?" And instead we just both said, "It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. Something else will happen." And of course it did. And so it all ends up happening the way it's supposed to be, and we just try not to push it.
I'm listening to a book right now. Have you guys ever heard of Ross Edgley, the guy that swam around the British Islands? Oh my gosh, you guys would love it. You've got to check this out. It's the, let me see, I wanna get you the title correct. I just recommended it on the last, podcast I did as well. You guys will love this book. It's called The Art of Resilience, Lessons in, so it's I can't remember the full title, but let's see, Strategies for an Unbreakable Mind and Body. And one of the things that he says in there is that you can take like top performing athletes that have all the skills, all the talent and everything. And the differentiator between the champion and the one that's actually going to get through it is grit. It's going to be the one that has the determination, just like you said, Danielle. It's going to be the person that's like, I'm not going to stop. I have a bigger why than just getting through this Costco situation. And I'm going to judge my going forward based on the success of this venture. No, it's going to be I'm gonna learn from it and move on. And that's what he says over and over is that it's the athlete that pursues. And so I always tell people that when they come to me and they ask me about wanting to be an entrepreneur, and I do some mentoring and coaching for entrepreneurs, and I always tell them like, look, you gotta understand something. For me, being an entrepreneur is a lot like the time I thought that I wanted to get a motorcycle. I liked the thought of it. I thought I would look really cool on a motorcycle, like a little Triumph or something like that, kind of a
Neat.
James Dean looking deal. I thought I looked so cool.
Yeah.
Well, then I go to my church parking lot with a buddy of mine and try to ride a little Harley Sportster, and I turned the thing over inside of like 30
Wow.
seconds. I mean, it was so bad. Messed up the tailpipe, cost me $150 to get that fixed. It was awful. And I never got on a bike again, and I won't get on a bike again. So the idea of it was way better than the reality. And that's what I tell people about entrepreneurship, that a lot of times the idea of it is way better than the reality. And what you just said, when the reality hits, you've got to have that persistence to go forward, which I think is something that few people, unless you've done it, I don't think people really understand
True.
just how hard it can be, right?
And I think we were so naive.
Every day, it seems like something new comes up or there's another roadblock. It's always like, one step forward, two steps back. But eventually we're gaining, we have gained momentum. And we're trudging along, man, and we're not stopping.
But we also take those moments and we say, "Gosh, we're really proud
Yeah.
of where we are at." And we just go, "Oh my gosh, like we have in 3 years, we have 6 products. Like what?" And so we have to just stop and just listen to that and just I think it's important to just those little benchmarks and go, "Okay, we did it. This is great."
So, and congratulations for that, because it is a hero's journey that not everyone has the courage to set out on. So the fact that you guys have done it is so awesome. Now I want to talk about some specific products. So you've mentioned several times that it sounds like to me, Danielle, a lot of this started with your sleep. So I want you to educate this audience not only on the importance of sleep. I want you to kind of talk about that, just what you've learned and how important sleep is for recovery and all the reasons why the reason why Matthew Walker is now a health and wellness, kind of rock star, a guy who is a sleep researcher. So talk a little bit about that, but then also talk about your product and kind of what has made it better, because you're right, the melatonin, I mean, I try to stay away from it unless I'm curing jet lag or something like that. I don't want to deal with melatonin capsules just because I'm afraid I'm going to be groggy. So kind of talk a little bit about sleep science and then how your product solves that, not only for you but for anyone that's listening that might have some trouble with their sleep patterns.
Well, my own sleep journey started with kind of my beginning stages of perimenopause. And of course, you're prescribed Ambien. You can't sleep. You're up in the middle of the night. Here's some Ambien.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it was just not a road that I wanted to go down. So I started, really playing with ingredients and based on his dad was actually a compounding pharmacist. So David has a lot of experience. So he can go into more science part of it. But for me, I was up, at 2 in the morning till 5 in the morning. And then I'd get a couple hours of sleep and then wake up not feeling refreshed, not, having mental health, issues because I was depressed. So sleep is really the key to longevity. There's Did
And one of the
you?
keys to getting a better night's sleep to begin for anybody, especially women, if you're having problems, is getting your hormones checked, getting specific markers checked. You go to a doctor, they're going to order basic, like a complete metabolic panel, a CBC, they might thyroid panel, liver panel. What about you have to ask them for, can you check my magnesium level? Sometimes you have to ask for certain things and then they might say, well, why do you want that checked? They question you back, but, um,
And that's where I found out was severely deficient in magnesium. I eat so healthy. I've always been healthy, but I was severely deficient. And then my hormone health, I had zero hormones. So I was starting my journey of perimenopause. So I started bioidentical hormones, and then I started filling in nutritional gaps. So for us as owners of supplements, I don't believe in every supplement. I believe in kind of looking for me, what am I deficient, and then filling that and then maximizing my body.
You're
So I
talking my language, sister.
yeah.
You are talking my language.
So
Yes.
I fill in my supplements that way. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, do you need that?" I go, "Well, I don't know your situation, but 60% of people are deficient in magnesium." So for me, it was like a no-brainer. Like, well, I didn't know this. And magnesium back in the day, magnesium was not in the sleep section.
Yep.
So I'm going, wait, I go to Vitamin Shop, it was not there. So I go, what is going on? This, and then all these, great adaptogens that we played around with calming. I had a lot of anxiety when I couldn't sleep. So I needed things to kind of bring it down naturally. So then David can kind of go into like how he formulated it.
yeah, I knew, as a base for a sleep supplement that we needed magnesium and zinc because back in the old days, as you might know, one of the key formulations for bodybuilders and athletes was product with magnesium, aspartate, and zinc. And so I knew that was going to kind of be the basis of anything that I was going to try to formulate, which I did. So I put 4 different forms of magnesium together. We added zinc. Glycine is an amino acid that promotes a faster onset of sleep. And so that's in our sleeping supplement. Ashwagandha has been studied to, show that it relieves anxiety and promotes better relaxation at certain doses. And then lemon balm was a personal touch for me because I enjoy drinking like warm teas at night.
Mhm.
And so I didn't want to necessarily go with like valerian root or chamomile. I felt like those were, typical. A lot of sleep supplements you see, they just throw everything in the kitchen sink into the bottle, and it's got valerian root, chamomile, lemon balm, melatonin, the GABA,
Yeah.
5-HTP, everything. And you're like, do I need all this stuff? Probably not. You just need a few things to help. And the main one being magnesium. But going back to the ingredients, yeah, ashwagandha, lemon balm, and then Danielle had a history of,
Heavy
heavy
metals.
metal poisoning or
So I
heavy
ended
metal
up getting
toxicity.
checked for my, bioidentical doctors wanted to check my heavy metals. Ends up I have all these off the charts, and he said, "I would like you to start chelating." Well, I felt very fortunate that I had access to a doctor that I could chelate and do this, but I felt like there must be a natural way to chelate. So we put in cilantro and chlorella in our sleep supplement. So every day, like you kind of take out some of the
It's very
natural,
mild. It's not like a
very mild,
hardcore chelation therapy.
just
It's
gentle.
very mild. You take it every night, and it just assists attaching to the heavy metals and helps your body excrete them.
It was just kind of like another gift that I felt like just doesn't hurt. It's
Yeah,
only a
just to make it
benefit.
different. It's how we're different. So,
And how did you
uh,
test it? I mean, did you guys after you got it? I mean, did you start playing with some stuff, getting it made and test it, and then
I tried
tweak it?
everything.
we
Right.
tested it with Danielle. I took it. We had friends and family that took it.
But
Um,
we tried every different certain things I didn't do well with. GABA, I just didn't do well. Melatonin, I had headaches. So we just played around with everything.
we went through different, flavors. And, first I wanted like, a mint flavor one. And then we actually decided as, I guess the popular flavor was just this mild berry flavor that we have, and it's kind of a sweet drink, so you can drink it hot or cold. Yeah, so it's actually really good.
And my 81-year-old dad is like,
Takes
he's
it every
he's
night.
hardcore Italian. He goes, I can't give you um, a
Review.
review until, like, it works. So, I'm gonna need some time." And he's hardcore. I was like, "Okay, okay, give you some time." So he goes, "I just wanted to let you know," it was like a couple months later, "I put a review on Amazon," and he just says, "It works."
That's awesome. I love it. I
The
love it.
freaks because he's so hardcore and he's like, "I just can't unless it works, I can't do it."
Well, there you
So
go. So everybody out there, if you read the reviews and if you come across Danielle's granddad, you know it's true. He doesn't put out false reviews. Very
yeah,
good. Good to know.
cute.
Well, all right. So now, then from the sleep, once you get that dialed in, then was the which came next? Which product came next? And did you guys know at that point? Now that we're making this product, we realize we can do this. We can have a problem, we can solve it, and we can
Yeah.
also make a business out of it. And is that kind of how that went?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
fast was for you.
Yeah, we kinda made them simultaneously, she had sleeping issues, I was diving into the world of intermittent fasting, but I felt like I needed something. Everybody's now using the word fuel, fueling your fast, but in the beginning, that was really what I wanted. I said, I like exercising while I'm not while I'm in the fasting state, but I always felt like I needed something to fuel my fast. I like drinking flavored water. I like taking, supplements. I don't really like taking a lot of pills in the morning for anything. I like to drink some flavored water, and I was like, why don't I make an electrolyte supplement with creatine? It's
And
not
me
really
too, yeah.
an amino, yeah, essential amino acids. It's not really there yet. There's a lot of EAAs out there. There's a lot of electrolytes, but there's not a lot that has them. In creatine that has them all three combined together.
And the dose for the electrolyte was higher than we would prefer. So it wa he dosed it at a lower dose than some of the other on the market.
Yeah, there's a lot of science back there, that's out. Like you said, there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of information that people can get confused on. And there's certain people out there that go, oh, thousands of milligrams of sodium a day won't affect you. But there's a lot of historical science and publications that show that it does and how it elevates blood pressure and how it makes you retain water. And does everybody as a general rule need, 1,000 milligrams of sodium in one sitting? Um, you know, are we all that dehydrated that we have to take all of this in abundance? So I did formulate it with good amounts of sodium, potassium, magnesium, but it also has creatine, and it's also dosed low because most people would take 5 grams of creatine a day, and I took into consideration that there are some people and a lot of people out there actually that I've read that have side effects from taking it, especially women. And our products are not formulated just for men. They're for everyone. So I dosed it at 2.5 grams, the creatine, and it's creatine monohydrate in its purest form. And so if you want to take 5 grams, great, do 2 scoops. If you don't like the way you feel with 5 grams a day and it makes you feel bloated or retain water, which is what creatine does essentially. Or if you see on the scale that you're gaining weight, they say that anywhere from 2 to 5 grams a day is beneficial. It's beneficial for brain health. It's beneficial for gut health. It's beneficial for, repair, recovery. So those are the things. Even a lot of doctors that I work with in my field don't really know the benefits of creatine on the gut.
Yeah.
And there's, some science out there that's starting to show that it is beneficial and, it helps tighten mucosal bonds in the gut, and that helps prevent leaky gut syndrome and some things that our Western diet in these days that contributes to leaky gut. So that's kind of where we came from with that.
So creatine is one of those that it kind of shocks people. Like, so Gus Vickery, my Dr. Gus, one of my business partners, we talked about on one of our episodes of our Authentic Health podcast, kind of our desert island supplement. And I said mine was creatine just because it's like a Swiss Army knife and it's cheap. It's so good. Now he said EAAs, and I've kind of shifted to that, especially because I'm also an intermittent faster as well, and essential amino acids. Now that I understand more of the science and the benefits, thanks to Dr. Gus, I'm very bullish on essential amino acids for protein synthesis, and the fact that I'm getting older and I don't want to consume. I don't mind consuming a lot of protein. I just usually don't consume enough when it's all said and done. So it's a good way to do that, and also during those fasted states without having there's no metabolic effect. But like creatine is just such a no-brainer. It's such a low-hanging fruit. I'm gonna tell my one of my buddies that I got him started on creatine and he had that exactly what you were just talking about, David. He started bloating and because it puts water in your muscles and it does a lot. And I used to be that way. It used to upset my stomach and it would cause me to bloat really bad. For some reason it doesn't now. But I'm gonna tell him about your product because I think that'd be really good. My buddy Dale Batista. So Dale, if you're listening, I think you should definitely try this product because not only for the creatine, but the electrolytes and everything else, it sounds like it's kind of got that Swiss Army knife effect as well, and I would think that would be a good one to like sip on throughout a training session,
You
right?
know, I enjoy taking pre-workouts as well. A lot of people like with weights. I enjoy, I really think that taking, citrulline and beta alanine and certain other things that are in pre-workouts are essential to a good pump or, to a good workout. Um, and I found that, you don't only have to take our fasting product during a fast. I mean, even in the middle of my workout, even if I have eaten breakfast, I have this in the middle of my workout and it seems to like give me that second wind. I don't know if it's the electrolytes, the amino acids or whatever, but it really helps out, push me through to the end of my workout. And, I'm not slacking off at the end. I'm still going strong at the end. So, um,
And I also feel like creatine that, the cognitive side and the mental health component. I think we're always so worried, everyone's focused like, oh, the muscle and how do I look? And my journey, it really started from my mental health. And then I started getting really fit. So for me, I'm like, what can I take for my mental health?
Yep.
What can I add a little extra bonus to help me cognitively as I'm aging? So I think that that's also is something that it's not all muscle, bodybuilding things. I think women should not be afraid of it.
No, 100%. And that's one of the things too that like I know Peter Attia was just talking about this recently, how with regard to brain health, and I think he was specifically mentioning creatine, there's so many things we can do to increase our cognitive health that we didn't realize, a number of years ago. It's not as easy as our cardiovascular health and our muscular health, which is that's another thing too that's so crazy. It's so easy to take control and improve your physical health.
Mm.
And a lot of people think that, well, if I'm gonna get Alzheimer's, I'm gonna get Alzheimer's. I don't know if I'm gonna get, pre-onset dementia. No, there are some things you can do. Creatine has been one of those that's been proven over and over and over. I actually had Dr. Jose Antonio on, who's kind of like the guru of creatine research. And he was talking about how, back in the day, like whenever I was in college, creatine was totally kind of the bro science,
right.
get jacked kind of, supplement. That's why we took it and it got that stigma. But now I think there's so many people like you guys and Atia and all these others, Andrew Huberman, that are bringing all this incredible research to the fore on the benefits of creatine. And also, I'll just say, Danielle, I want to echo what you're saying. That's kind of what, like for me, training, physical training, and exercise, and eating right as well. It is for me by and far
Yeah.
the mental
Mhm.
component is what keeps me going back. There
Yeah.
is just no substitute for me, and it's another reason why, and I don't wanna judge, I'm not saying anything bad, I'm not saying anything derogatory, but we are such an overprescribed, population in our Western medicine and that even with mental health, and I'm not saying there's not room for pharmaceuticals, there absolutely are. It's a toolkit, you gotta use the tools you've got, but man, to if people could really get an understanding of just again how much agency we have.
Mhm.
as it relates to our mental health, our mental wellness, our cognitive health, it would be so much better off. Or I think a lot of people would just have such a better, life experience. And I know for me, that's what it is for me more than anything. I know if I don't train, I'm not nearly as much fun for my wife to be around and then when I do, right?
Me.
But I also, this toolkit, I do for mental health for me, like I have my toolkit and I hear so many people, kind of bagging on the cold plunge and like
Mhm.
there's all these memes. And I mean, for me, the cold plunge really comes down to when I'm feeling a little bit of stuck or I'm feeling
Mhm.
mentally like when you suffer mental health, you will try anything. If you're going natural, you'll try anything. And for me, that cold plunge, sometimes one, two times in a day helps me.
Yep.
It really does. And so I think as a society, we're so focused on the diet and how we look when it's like, look at the lifestyle, look at what do you feel mentally? How do you feel? And then everything else will come together.
Yeah.
And I feel like, there's so much this carnivore and the keto and the fasting, and everyone's just so angry about it. And it's like, do what makes you feel happy. And then also do something that you can do forever. That's why we named our company Fuel4Ever. What can you do forever? When
Yeah.
you're 80, could you eat a steak and butter? I don't know. I know what I can do when I'm 80. I'm living the same. I can work out the same when I'm 80. I'm going to do all the things I can do to keep that, preserve lean muscle, everything. So I can just, have a lifestyle. It's really that simple.
Yeah. All right. So what I want you to do now, and I agree 100%. I want you to take me through because you guys are, I consider myself so fortunate that my wife and I are small business owners, and we have this routine that we're together a lot and everything. It's so cool and such a blessing. So, kind of take me through a day in the life of David and Danielle. I want to know that I love to know training protocols. I love to know. I don't know if you guys are like Gemlin and I, but one of the strengths of our marriage is rituals. We have these little things that we do that are reserved for us that the rest of the world be like, for example, every Sunday we drink out of the same coffee mugs that a friend of ours gave us as a wedding gift. They're like little Target mugs, one that says wifey and one that says hubby. But every Sunday, unless we're traveling, those are the mugs we drink out of. So kind
Perfect.
of what are y'all's routines? What does a day in the life of look like for you guys?
Well, it's always the same. I mean, we always work out. There's
It
never
starts with me
what
making Danielle coffee in bed
oh, always.
every
Same.
morning.
Well
Oh,
done, sir.
Every morning.
Well done.
Don't forget that.
he's very good at that. Very, very good at that.
Love
So
that.
we always like to kind of start off the morning and, talking in bed, kind of what's your plan? What's your workout of the day? And then it's always our fitness. Like if we're either working out together or we're separately, but we always try to find that 60 minutes right in the morning to do it right
Yeah, the
away.
first thing we do every day is get our workouts in because like you said, it's part of our ritual. It's something we need to do every day for our mental clarity. If I don't do it, if I go longer than 2 days without some sort of exercise, I start panicking inside, you know? So
And
that's our
then we always just then it comes back to the business and what we need to do that day, what kind of tasks. Like we're very humble. There's sometimes we have a distributor and maybe they drop the ball on something. We will go deliver those packages to the grocery stores. So there's always something that needs to be done. We also do live farm to table and we have honeybees. So we've kind of been getting into that and
we have a garden.
we have a garden. So we do have to spend some time, we want to fuel our body with certain vegetables. And fruits. So we grow it, and then we're doing the honey, experiment right now, which is so fun. They don't like David for some reason, he gets stung
They don't like the way I smell
every
or something.
single time. They're fine with me, but that's been a fun journey, and then it's just really and kids, we have 3 kids, so it's balancing that, and then, our kids are on that healthy lifestyle as well, so we try to have good food and home cooked meals, and we try to get everything done,
And
and
then one thing that we always do is after we have dinner, which is a lot of people don't know about, and you know what a postprandial walk is?
100%.
So a
Absolutely.
lot of people, a lot of people think walking is not exercise. You hear people saying walking is not exercise. We 100% think, if somebody comes to me and go, what's the first night? I want to lose some weight,
Walking.
but before I go into diet and all the details, I say you have to start just walk
Yep.
every day, start walking every day. So we do a postprandial walk after dinner. It's one of our rituals that we have been doing for several years. We made some videos on it even.
And try and watch the sunset,
Yeah.
trying to slow it down. That's our new thing.
Our new thing is, yeah, taking in the orange sunset,
Yeah.
and so that helps promote better sleep, helps your body start producing your natural melatonin, get that circadian rhythm kicked in, and yeah, and then
Yeah, we have fun. We have a good time. We're really blessed that
our
we
days after breakfast or after our workout, our days are usually like, okay, like Danielle said, it goes to the business, but we split up roles. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. She's like, okay, I'm going to make these sales calls. And so we do that for hours. And then, yeah, it comes back to,
and then sometimes I see him being Farmer Ted at the end of the street, doing something to the garden because he would probably rather do that. So, but we're at this point now that we're just trying to have, I know balance sounds cliche. We really are trying to add some balance to our life because we really put in so much blood, sweat, and tears, and we deserve that time now just to have balance and enjoy each other and enjoy maybe not working all the time.
Well, and I just have to say, of everything you just said right there, probably the most important thing you said, and I don't know whether it was subliminal or if it was deliberate, but your Farmer Ted reference, if that was a 16 Candles reference, your stock just went through the roof with me.
Yeah, yes, it is. It ages me, huh?
Yes,
Yeah. Yes,
okay,
sure.
I knew you guys were awesome. Wow, Danielle, well done.
Uh,
Well
that
done.
that's his nickname.
Yes, if you can sneak a 16 Candles reference in,
Sure.
yeah, I mean, you're my kind of people. So, David, if
that's
you're
our
Farmer Ted, not to be confused with
always
Farmer
do that.
Fred, you're
Yes,
Farmer Ted, boom, I love it.
that's great. I love it.
I love
Good.
how by the way, I love how in the credits that they recognize Anthony Michael Hall as just the geek, the
Yes,
geek.
no.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, well, all right, and another real a random question about what you just told me. So it starts with coffee. Tell me what kind of coffee you get because Jill and I are coffee snobs. We're not
Or
snobby about many things, but we're kind of foodies. We're coffee snobs. And look, I know a lot of people are down on caffeine. We're not giving up our coffee. I don't care what happens in the world. I'm gonna keep drinking my coffee. What kind of coffee you drinking? How do you take it? What do you put in it? Because I make kind of an elixir of mine, which I can share with you guys. But kind of, what do you guys do with yours?
Well, I'm always for
I'm probably the
yeah.
coffee
Yeah,
snob.
he's a snob. He
Okay.
pours. I like the espresso. I do
Okay.
like stevia, I like a little almond milk. Right now I have a little iced coffee sometimes, but
Okay.
like some local brand, we really like supporting like Journey is a local coffee shop. We really like supporting the
Yeah.
local.
I don't know if you want to like go into brand specific, but
I
Bring
did
it.
a coffee like um for his
so
birthday.
yeah, so for my birthday, she ordered me like a subscription to Trade Coffee. So they'll send you. You can go on there and actually pick like what kind of coffees you like. If you like single origin, or if you like what part of the world it comes from, and then they'll send you the if you like regular coffee or espresso, and then they'll send you these certain small batch coffees. Yeah, and they're like magnificent. And I just usually do it. I usually grind. You get a whole bean. I
Mhm.
do believe you should get them whole bean. You should grind
100%.
cells directly before you roast. And I have my little pour over method that I do,
Mhm.
and that's the way I do it. In a pinch, I'll use the espresso machine. And do that. But I like Americano with just a little stevia. I drink mine black. I
And
don't.
sometimes I put some protein powder in there to get 2 scoops, get my extra protein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like
That's what
that.
so and, if I'm fasting, then I'm gonna probably do black with, and this is I double up on the kick. So I'll do a Four Sigmatic, lion with lion's mane and an Americano. So it's gonna be espresso and then, add the water. If I'm not fasting, that's whenever I make up my full-blown elixir where I'll put, like, a little bit of collagen, some cumin, some Ceylon cinnamon, the coffee, and then I'll go heavy whipping cream. but it's the same thing. We've just started trying to order more organic coffee. So and we have local coffee places here where we'll always try to buy from a local roaster, but we can't find many organic. So we'll go to Thrive Market and try to find some. Like Kicking Horse is pretty good. Just got a bag of Purity coffee, which seems to be kind of coming up, which was supposed to be one of James Quandal's customers. I don't know if I know they were going to work with James, but I don't know if they are or not. But anyway, so I learned from about Purity coffee a long time ago. But that's kind of one of our real important rituals. And we're kind of like you guys. We have every contraption you can think of. We've got the pour over, the espresso, the French press. If there is a way to make a cup of coffee, this
Very
is
good.
right, and I have discovered
Like
it. I
light
assure you.
roast, medium roast, dark roast,
Yeah.
which
Mine's dark. We get it so dark it makes I mean, I'm sure it's tattooed the inside of my stomach.
Oh
Toes are
my
curling. I mean, it's people come to our house and like, "Oh my gosh, whoa." I'm like, "Yeah, we'll set your hair on fire." Like Ethiopian, something really
Yes.
like dark and just actually though, Danielle, our favorite for a while, although it was the cleanest coffee, it was so good. It's this old Brooklyn. We'd order it by the 5-pound bags, and it was the Italian dark.
Oh,
It was even stronger than their
right.
French roast. It would punch you in the mouth and tell you to sit down and think about it with every sip. It was unbelievable, and
Right,
so
so
we'll still go back to that.
Asian cold, like in Cambodia, the coffee's very dark. You almost might like something from
Okay.
a Cambodian, like, where it's so dark, it's like it's almost like syrup. It
Okay.
sounds
I'm
like
gonna they'll have you up for 3 days.
yes,
Yeah, that's
you
my
would like
jam.
her.
I like it. I like the
Fast
really,
for
really dark stuff.
8 hours on that, no
Yeah.
problem.
I love it. I love it. Now, tell me about so you guys do different workout routines, which by the way, David, you mentioned rucking or Danielle mentioned that you ruck. Same thing. One, agree 100% on the walk. I tell people the same thing. Walks are magical. They're good for your brain.
Yep.
Everybody can do it. It's just you, and if you're not doing it, you're just missing out. It's just such low hanging fruit.
Free, free.
It's free.
Rucking has become my go-to. I ruck at least 3, 4 times a week. Nothing crazy, but I'll go 4 miles, with a 45-pound, plate. And and we've got enough hills that's kind of my morning walk. But what are kind of your routines that you like to do for your training? What's your protocol?
Mine are so what I do is I work out, I lift weights 4 days a week.
Okay.
Uh, right now, I switch it up.
Yep.
Every few months, I might work out 6 days a week. Right now, I'm doing 4 days a week. I'm doing the upper lower split. So Mondays, upper body, Tuesdays, lower. On Wednesdays, I run. I do a long run. And then Thursdays, again, a little bit different exercises, all upper body. Fridays, all legs again. And then Saturday, I do like a boot camp.
Mm.
I'll do,
What
I'll
what's
do
that look like?
a run. It's a run mixed with body weight training.
Okay.
And then Sundays is a rest day for me. So,
Well, I feel like it's never a rest day with you,
or
though.
or I'm Farmer Ted on
He's
Sunday.
Farmer Ted
Yeah. I got it.
doing
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, whenever you're doing your boot camp, are you just kind of avant-garde? You kind of making that up, and or are there any routines like anybody that you look to, like Ben Greenfield or anybody to try to find some stuff? Or you just kind of how's that
We
work?
Last summer, we went through this whole deal where we would put weights out in the driveway. We live on a hill, so I have a 60-pound sandbag. We would do like 2 minutes of weights in the garage, and then we go out. We do 10 rounds, and you carry weight down the hill and back up.
Yeah.
This year, since I'm kind of switching things up, we do have a Peloton, and I just do my boot camp on the Peloton tread.
Okay.
And they're very efficient, and they're very good. They're hard workouts.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing now. When I do my runs, I enjoy running. I enjoy the mental fortitude it takes to be able to keep going. I like that push. I like to sweat. I
Yeah.
love being outside when it's hot. Like I'm from Texas, so the dry heat here in California doesn't bother me that much. So people here, like when you see them walking, they're either walking in the mornings or the evenings. I'm running in the middle of the afternoon with my shirt off because I love to sweat. I want to take in a little sun,
Yeah.
the about an hour long runs. And, I try to aim for like 6 miles or so. And then, I'm not running, I'm jogging.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like to sweat. I like the push I have to give myself mentally to keep going. Whenever my body's like telling me to stop, I'm like, you just keep doing it. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, that's kind of what I do now.
I like
Yeah.
it. Danielle, what do you do?
My journey's very different because I'm in perimenopause, so I'm walking. That's my only source of cardio. There is
Okay.
walking, hiking, and then just heavy weights 6 days a week. Uh, Again, upper body, split, lower body, and just really, I just don't push. I'm in the best shape of my life, but I've learned that all the excessive cardio and just is not good for me while I'm kind of transitioning and with my journey of
Yeah.
becoming an older
Some
woman.
people like it's going back to doing what works for you.
Yeah.
Some people don't do well with the hit
Mm,
exercising and I do. Like my body responds really well. I did CrossFit for several years ago, and my body was,
yeah.
I thought probably was in the best shape I'd ever been because I was doing these, heavy and fast hit style workouts. And it doesn't necessarily work,
For
for
everybody.
everybody.
And for me, like,
Danielle, it doesn't work.
I was like Peloton queen. I had every class and I was like really winning everything. But then I started not seeing really the body changes. And the second I just said, I'm going to just try just not doing any cardio, just being gentle and walk with
Mhm.
purpose. We always say walk with
Yeah.
purpose and just do really heavy weights. It is I love it. I love
Right.
it. And I get my cardio within my weight routine. I did legs today. I was sweating. I was breathing hard, but you
Yeah, I
know,
think some people's bodies respond, they just produce a bunch of cortisol. It was like a stress hormone, and they get really inflamed. I think that's like what you do
yeah.
with
So
the
the
hit
second I kind
style.
of let go of that kind of mentality and like he goes, "You want to go run with me?" I'm like, "Oh, that sounds awful. I
Yeah.
don't want to work that hard. It just my body's just like happy right now." So
Well, that's so important to listen to your body. I'm with you. And it's funny you mentioned the Peloton because Jimlin got me my Peloton like, I don't know, about 5 years ago. And I can be a little OCD about stuff. And so I was riding 2 times a day, 7 days a week. And back then, I mean, I like to think I knew something about health and wellness back then, but I just was of the mindset that as long as I'm real strong on the cardio side, I don't have to lift weights anymore. I'm getting old. I don't need to do that. Not fully comprehending the importance of resistance training and everything that I'm fully aware of now and make sure to do. And y'all, I look like freaking Matthew McConaughey from Dallas Buyers Club. I mean, my hair was kind of puffy and my face was all skinny. My neck was tiny. I mean, I looked horrible. And then, when you start understanding endothelial health and everything and what it can do to your cardiovascular system, it's not good for you. And that's another thing that I try to tell people is that if you're not doing anything, you don't have to do a soul crushing workout every day or whatever to stay in good shape. If you will just do what you're saying, Danielle, you just get out, walk, just move your body. And like you're saying, David, you mix it up. You do things and getting in the sunshine, getting that natural vitamin D. And it is with purpose. Like there was this research that was done on these housekeepers for a hotel and they did a survey and they asked all these housekeepers if they thought they were getting enough exercise. Well, they worked all the time, so they were all like, "No, we don't get any exercise." Well, then they hung up posters and told them about the benefits of exercise and how what they did could actually be considered exercise. Okay, that's kind of cool. They start realizing these housekeepers that are in this hotel. They realize, oh, I am doing more exercise. They start thinking of it as exercise. The crazy thing is their biomarkers changed dramatically. They were doing the same thing, but just the mental thought of my job is exercise increased their biomarkers.
I
Researchers
get
couldn't
that.
explain it. They had no reason why. The behavioral change, the only behavioral change was mental in that because they gave them the literature that showed them that what you're doing can burn up to this many calories, this many steps. So I do think there's a lot of that to it. And the only reason why I say that is kind of to as a real amen sister to what you're saying, Danielle, this whole walk with purpose. I tell people, don't think in your mind just because all I'm doing is going on a walk that I didn't work out that day. No, mentally tell yourself, this is my training for the day is a walk. It doesn't have to be a grueling, mall walking,
Yes,
kind of
that's
doing the weird thing. It can just be a nice, brisk paced walk. That is, tell yourself, this is my training session for the day. And I'm with you. That's one of the things that's helped me a lot is because I used to be the type that unless I was just spent, crushed, 700, 1,000 calories, I didn't work out. No,
Right.
now I am fully okay with being traveling somewhere. Like I was just in New York last week. I'm going for a walk in Central Park. That is going to be this training session, and
so true.
that's all. That's enough. That's enough.
And we also like when we go on vacation, we or even work, we like finding fun hotels that have gyms and
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
or go to another gym in the city. I feel like if there's anyone that is starting, I just firmly believe in fitness goals instead of
yeah,
weight loss goals. I think if you just go, you know what? I had a goal. I wanted to do pull ups. I
yep,
really wanted to do. It took me a while, but with all of that training, then I ended up losing weight. And
yeah.
so I think we're so focused on the exterior and it's like, okay, let's make a goal. Like what will you do in 6 months? What will you do in a year? I just feel like it's easier for me. So now my fitness goals are different in that I don't have the weight loss at all, but I want to see this muscle or I want to be able to really be
Sure.
stronger in certain activities or like squat different, stronger or, so I think, if you're starting out, I just always recommend that.
I love that. I love that. All right, now before I let you guys go, because I don't want to take up all your time, I want to talk more about real quick about the products. I want to talk about the collagen bar. I want to find out why people should eat these. And then also, David, Danielle, whichever one of you, a lot of people hear about intermittent fasting. And it sounds to me like, I mean, because, they've heard me talk about it a lot. It has been a game changer for me. I feel better. I'm like you. I train in a fasted state. I just, I like to have a smaller feeding window. It's just been, and I think for longevity, the science is there that it does show great benefits. But one of the things that you guys have are products that help people through their fast. Is it works in conjunction with fasting, which I think is really cool. So tell me a little bit about the bars, why they're great, why the collagen, why people need collagen, and the other ingredients that are in there, and then also how the products like take them through a whether it's a 8-hour feeding window, if they're doing a 16/8, intermittent fast, whatever the case may be, how they can incorporate those products to enhance the benefits of fasting or like sometimes just having some flavor or something just helps you get through it mentally. Kind of talk a little bit
Mhm.
about that.
Well, I think one just I'll give you like why I wanted this bar. I wanted a high protein, high fiber. I was tired of I would needed dairy free, gluten free for me for my dietary issues. Um Dairy free is huge. I can't have dairy. So for me there a lot of the bars were tend to be a little dry. I felt like the fat, I wanted healthy fats. So I wanted something with MCT oil that helped the brain. So I really wanted to create a snack that I could go on the go and not feel guilty that I had all the macros, 14 to 15 grams of protein. If you're going to have a bar that's over 20 grams of protein, it's going to be processed or it will be heavily sweetened with honey or so it'll be a high sugar bar. I wanted a lower sugar bar, no added sugar at all. So I think that's kind of you look at bars, it's 210, 220 calories. A lot of people go, oh, it's so high. I want under. I'm not afraid of calories, but I also know when you make a bar, it's a larger size bar. So our bar is 52 grams, where a lot of the bars are 42 grams. So you don't have it's 220 calories. You could save half of it. It's high in fiber, so you feel full. That's kind of the way why I made it. You know, I wish I wanted to get over 20, but I realized you can't get over 20 grams of protein without adding some sort of artificial ingredients. You can't. So
Okay.
we really reached our max.
One of the what we do on our when we go to certain trade shows is we have a banner that's made that says "Sleep Fast Go." And so one of the keys to longevity, which goes, what I was talking about earlier was, quality sleep, intermittent fasting. And then we actually, whenever we made the bar, we're like, let's make something that could possibly be good to break your fast with. Something high in fiber, gives you a good source of protein, doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. So it's not going to spike it's not like you're coming off your fast or eating high carb meal and your blood sugar goes through the roof and then you crash 2 hours later. This is something that's going to support that, slower glucose metabolism. And then, yeah, so we wanted to make it, like Danielle said, with certain ingredients that we thought were important for health and longevity and for wellness. And that we didn't want to put dairy in it, wanted it to be gluten
And
free.
it's hard because you see the competition and it's a candy bar disguised with artificial ingredients. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, it would have been very easy to make that. It would chewy gooey and chocolate, a little marshmallow in it and call it fat free or low fat. And it's just not something we wanted to do. And so we went with our gut again, and we went with what we wanted. We wanted to stay true to who we are as owners, as health people. I mean, we are in this space. And so we just had to stay true to it.
Well, I can tell
So
you right now, I'm with you. Like I hate to call out any competition, but, in a negative way, but I'll say they're delicious. Think bars. I used to think those are. I used to think those are so great until I found out the real health of those things. And a lot of people, they crush them because they're dense, they're tasty. But when you start looking at the ingredients and they're just they're not good. They're just not
And
good for you.
everyone can do, you go down your own journey. If you want
Yeah.
that, great. You know what? There's a bar for everybody.
Yeah.
I just was not going to contribute to that, to
Yeah.
society like that. Not my gift to everybody. So yes, we're competing against Nestle and big brands, but I said we got Amazon's choice badge. So we're, grassroots, like just doing a lot of demos and people are loving the taste. And I couldn't be more, proud of our bar.
Even
And
for people that don't like lemon or coconut, we have a lemon coconut bar, and
So
people
when
are like,
it's in my basket right
actually,
now. The lemon coconut's in my
yeah,
basket right
uh,
now. I just haven't finished my
actually,
checkout.
like, wow, I don't like lemon, I don't like coconut, but the lemon
yeah,
coconut bar is sneaky good.
it
Like,
Oh,
is.
dude,
And
those
it's
are both my
interesting.
jam, and I saw the lemon coconut, I'm like, I had never seen a bar with that combo. It's usually one or the other. So I'm serious. I just haven't finished my checkout. That's the first one I'm going to order.
yeah,
Yeah. So
awesome.
thank you. That's nice of you. Thank you. And leave
Yeah, of
us a
course.
review.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm going to be like your grandfather. It better be good, or I'm not doing any kind of.
Yeah, it's true. I totally agree though. I agree. I appreciate reviews that help us as a company, but there's also it's hard when you're have minimal processed ingredients. It's not going to taste like a Snickers bar. Sorry.
Well,
The-
tell people where they can buy the bars, where they can follow you guys, where they can stay in touch. Anything that you need to know that this audience can help support you guys. How do they do it?
Thank you. Yeah, Fuel Fuel, the number 4EVER.com. That's our website. We always throw in free samples of other products if you don't buy. So everyone likes getting it from our website because you'll get a free bar if you don't
And you
order
get free
bars.
shipping over $70.
Yes. And then Amazon's also very popular. And we are just in grocery stores in California. So that's really kind of where we're at now.
Okay, fantastic. Well, guys, this has been so fun. Thank you. Congratulations on the business,
Thank
on doing something, on creating a good product in a good space. The fact that you guys, husband and wife team, you get to do it together. David, keep bringing her coffee in the morning, dude. I love that. That might be my favorite thing about you. The 16 candles reference. My gosh, you guys are
Yes.
just freaking rock stars.
Okay, well, we're coming to Texas to go to Stanley's. So that's gonna be we gotta go back and do it
we'll
tech
call you.
yes. We'll
Look you
call
up.
you and we'll
We will
get
do.
some
I mean,
rib.
look, I have done live interviews from Stanley's, so we might have to just invite Nick over to sit down and have a little sampling, have our own little barbecue picnic. We'll
There you
record it.
go.
I'm down, and we'll have some Fuel4Ever bars for dessert.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go for a walk after.
And then we'll need a workout after that.
Sounds like a deal,
Awesome.
guys. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The content provided in this podcast, The Healthy CEO, is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. The opinions expressed by our hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Healthy CEO. Any information provided by our host or guests, including any physicians who may appear on the podcast, is solely for informational purposes and does not create any doctor-patient relationship. Listeners are advised to consult with their healthcare providers before making any changes to their health routines. The Healthy CEO and its affiliates assume no responsibility or liability for any consequence resulting directly or indirectly from any action or inaction you take based on the information provided in this podcast.